Hey there, tappers. I'm doing a second video today because as important as it is to be successful, it's also important to admit your mistakes. And we had kind of a decent one, and calling it a mistake might be on the more severe side, but we're just going to go into what's going on here right now. So for one reason or another, our ale yeast was not being the most active, and part of being a good brewer is not only evaluating your fermentation and making sure that you start it up for success, but also that you keep an eye on it and that you know, okay, things aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. So if you look through our previous videos, you're going to notice that our brew bucket here with our banana rye is very inactive. And so when you have an inactive yeast, there's two things you could do. And actually we just did both to be on the safe side. The first is assume that your active dry yeast is not effective and add in another yeast. Now when you do a nice yeast blend like we did, I actually added some champagne yeast in here a couple minutes ago. And so in this case I'm going to say that that probably wasn't the solution that was necessary, and here's why. Literally a minute ago or so I just added that in there. And to do that, I opened it up, exposed it to a little bit more oxygen. Now, if you know anything about yeast fermentation, what you're going to know is that while what we want is non-aerated fermentation, which produces alcohol, yeast actually multiplies more fruitfully when it's exposed to air. So one of the things that they're going to tell you when you get into fermentation is that exposure to air for at least a short period of time is very important, and that allows your yeast to increase quickly in population, so that then when you put it in an anaerobic environment, meaning a oxygen limited or reduced or possibly completely removed environment, that you have a strong enough yeast colony that it can actually produce the CO2 and the alcohol. So you can actually see that even in that short period of time that this barrel was open, maybe a couple seconds, it's actually already starting to bubble up quite nicely. I also took the opportunity to clean out the airlocks on these other two batches, and I noticed something rather interesting that we're actually going to do an experiment here and see what's going on. But to put it briefly, there's actually a crack in this airlock on the side here. It's not big enough to leak, but it is definitely significant. And the seal on this one has actually split in half. Now, it should be okay. But we're going to watch these, and we're going to see what happens here. And we're going to possibly learn about the different spoilers